Hello and welcome back to Anime Analysis, and today I'm doing a video that I did promise a while back. It is the Season 2 review of the 7 Deadly Sins. Now, I'm gonna just kind of do a talk to you guys in front of a camera thing because that is easier for me. I'm getting closer and closer to finishing everything of my college semester that makes it hard to upload on this channel, and once I finish all of those things, then I will have even more time. But this is easy because this means that I don't have to like cycle images all over the screen. I'm going to have images all over the screen, but it's like, it's easy when I don't feel like there's an image to put to just be able to use me, so that's helpful. Anyway, Season 2 review of the 7 Deadly Sins. Now let me tell you something about Season 2. My first instinct to Season 2, after I finished it, I thought one thing. Not as good as the first season. That doesn't mean it's bad. That does not mean it's bad. Let me tell you something. Season 1 was great. Season 1 was well structured. Season 1 did a lot of things really, really well. And Season 2 did a lot of things really, really well as well. But the difference between the two seasons, in my personal opinion, was a little bit less action in Season 2. I think that's one of the biggest things. There were a lot of episodes in Season 2 where the 10 Commandments were just ignored. And I get that they were setting up to really get into a big battle between them, but they were just kind of like there, you know? And when you introduce, especially when you do it in like the first couple episodes, you introduce this big group of villains, you want to jump at it. You take a little bit of time to explain the backstory, you explain how Meliodas fits into them, how his brother is one of them, things like that. And you need to kind of jump on that immediately. Yeah, Meliodas needed to get his power back. Okay, you could spend time doing that, but once they did that, then you've got to go full throttle right at them. That's what I was really excited to see, and it didn't end up happening. I did like what they did with some of the characters, the way they kind of nerfed, specifically they nerfed Merlin. Merlin was a character, when I first saw her, I thought was extremely overpowered, so I like the whole, alright, turn her body into stone, she can't do anything for like the entire season, ended up coming back later, so things like that were really nice. I think that's actually a very smart idea to essentially nerf Merlin's power for a while, because she was just that strong. She did all that. She was really that important to the group. I think that was really great. Anyway, here's another really important thing to look at though. As I moved on through the season, I didn't really care for all this early stuff of like Bond leaves the Sins with no explanation, mind you. I mean, he technically had a reason. Like, he was upset that he attacked Meliodas, who was his best friend, and he didn't want to be any part of that anymore, and he wanted to figure out how to resurrect Elaine by his own means, and I understand that. I didn't like the whole separation though. I feel like Bond could have dealt with that a different way. I know that Bond knows, and we all know, that Meliodas doesn't hold grudges. He's completely fine with what Bond did, but Bond left anyway. We did get to see that he did replant the Fairy King's forest. We know Elaine gave him a seed before Elaine died, and they kind of left that for later, so it's cool that he actually did use Elaine's promise and rebirth the Fairy King's forest, which was cool. I found it a little dumb why Jericho was traveling with him. Obviously, they're setting up a whole love thing because Jericho is in love with him because Bond saved her life, this and that. Jericho's also extremely weak. I mean, you can't have a character that gets as many lines as Jericho and have them be that weak, in my opinion. I mean, it worked with Elizabeth in Season 1, where Elizabeth was super weak, but the difference with Elizabeth is that she was the one that brought the Sins together, and obviously she's nowhere near weak. She's a healer now. She's very good at what she does, so learning and helping, that's a big thing that happens as well. I'm kind of like looking through Netflix to see what parts I want to talk about, so I can look at the synopsis of every video. I do not like Hendrickson being alive. I think that was stupid. I know he's not possessed by the demon anymore or whatever, but the dead need to stay dead. When you kill somebody, especially like the way Hendrickson died, even though we didn't really see a body, the thing that Meliodas did to him, the dead need to stay dead. That's how I feel about it. I don't think Hendrickson should have been alive. I do like the whole, well, they explain that he was possessed by a demon, which I also think is dumb. Like, just let him be, but let him be a bad guy. But it is what it is. I don't think I'm gonna hate Hendrickson or anything like that. It's just a lot of times characters die and they don't stay dead, and the show randomly reverts it back to like, oh, he's fine, he was here the whole time, he just escaped. I always like shows when the dead stay dead. Even if it's one of your favorite characters, they should, but especially if it's a villain, they should. I did not like, what was his name? The huge guy. The huge guy. Why is now when I forget names? Okay, the huge guy who got, after he did his druid training, got transformed into a little kid. Him, please remind me of his name in the comment section below. You are welcome to. I didn't like that they made him a kid, and that was kind of lame. I actually really liked him. I thought that he had a terrific voice actor as well, so there was a lot of great stuff there for him. And I thought that his character was written pretty well. So, is it Griamore? It's Griamore. Griamore's the name. Griamore. I was pretty disappointed that that's what happened. But it's not permanent, which was cool at least. So he'll be back next season. I liked how Gil Thunder is on the good guy's side. I mean, we knew that he was under just like a curse last time around, but I like that he is full throttle on the good guy's side, and they're all working together. I think that's really great because Gil Thunder is a really cool character, and he's very, very powerful. And we didn't get that full-fledged Gil Thunder fight that I really wanted. Like, we had him against Meliodas, but that ended with Meliodas just clearing the curse. So we still don't know how powerful Gil Thunder is, and I'd love him to be able to go against one of the commandments. That would be wonderful. Looking at a few other things. Oh, Bond's backstory, man. Bond's backstory with his father. That was one of those things where it's like, all right, there's no combat or anything going on, but this is just important so you get the whole feeling of the character. We meet Bond's father, not his actual father, but the one who raised him and taught him to basically be who he is now, which is a thief, but he takes that thievery and he does it in a good way, which is saying fox hunt and stealing people's hearts, which is better. But Bond's backstory was actually incredible. I was very happy with those episodes. A lot of people might think they were kind of dumb, but point being said, Bond's my favorite character, so I was completely fine with them doing that. I thought that was great. Let's see what else we've got. It took them 14 episodes to kill Gallant, but the good and what kind of bothered me about the season is, yeah, it took 14 episodes to kill Gallant. Gallant was also the only deadly sin they used for 14 episodes, man. Like, he was the only deadly sin who was involved in combat that many times in a row, but it did set up, Gallant being there in that tavern, it did set up one thing, and that was Escanor has arrived. The Lion Sin of Pride, Escanor, had arrived, and I gotta tell you something about Escanor, alright? I gotta tell you something about him. This dude was incredible. Now, the second I saw Jericho bring Bond and Elaine into the tavern and they knew each other, the second that happened, I got extremely excited because the second I realized, like, wait, they know each other. Wait. And it struck me. It's like, is this our guy? Is this our guy? I wasn't sure how exactly because he didn't look very powerful. But then the dude gets big, and the dude picks up his axe, and he does work. And let me tell you, Bond is my favorite deadly sin. Escanor is a close second, dude. I love this guy. He was great. He had a terrific reveal. Finally, no more Gallant. They got rid of Gallant. I was completely fine with that. So then we moved forward to the Death Trap Maze, where everybody was in, and that involved all kinds of different fighting between all kinds of different people. Deanne losing her memories is like one of those things where it's like, okay, that's fine. Deanne annoyed me anyway, so if Deanne's going to be different, I'm completely fine with that. Meliodas versus the Ten Commandments was the best episode of the season. Let me tell you something right now. Him versus not all 10, but most of them. And Dude tried. Now, obviously, I knew when he had stabbed all those times by his brother and every single heart he had, I knew he was gone. I knew he wasn't gone. Like, I knew, like if a main character is gonna die in a show, it can really upset a lot of people. So it's not something a show is ever risking to do unless it's at the end. Then they can die at the end because there's no more episodes anyway without him. But yeah, I didn't think it was his time. I didn't think Elizabeth was going to heal him. I thought there was something else, and I like the whole curse of him not being able to die. I think that's pretty cool. And I also like how he loses part of himself every single time he comes back. Things like that. That's a really cool, interesting story they can go off of, so I'm happy about that. So Meliodas then returns. We had... Oh, yeah, that's right. So when Meliodas died, they time skipped. They revealed Zaratros as being alive because he had the spell from one of the 7 deadly sins, one of the 10 commandments, a spell that brought him back to life. I thought that was really cool. We had... They time skipped a little bit where the demon race pretty much completely took over. One of the members of the demon race took over Camelot, which is where they're going to be going next because King Arthur's throne has been taken away, and that's where they're going to start next season, which is what I really love. I think my favorite thing is that, you know, Meliodas came back to life and they killed a few of they killed a few of the 10 commandments, but there's still a lot left. And I think the most important thing to note as we head into the next season is the fact that we essentially know where we're going. The end of the first season was very closed-ended and honestly could have been the end of the series. The only thing that left it open was, hey, there's still another sin we need to find. But, like, when you look at it, it's one of those things where I feel like they did a great job not finishing with the 10 Commandments. There's so many, man. There were so many of them. You can't fill them all into 24 episodes, killing every single one of them. Especially with how deep the story is of Meliodas having to kill his brother, which is one of them, which is a fight I cannot wait for. It's gonna happen, and it's amazing. So I'm very, very excited. It's going to be tons of fun, and I think it's one of those things, man, where Season 1 to Season 2, I actually took a few days of a break before I started Season 2 because of the way Season 1 ended. Season 2 ended, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Please bring me more. Anyway, I did do a video. I'm going to have that card pop up on the screen. I did do a video about when the next season will be coming out, so feel free to watch that video. It's actually going to be an end screen thing because this is the end of the video. So subscribe right here, end screen right here, end screen. The release date video right here. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, this has been Anime Analysis. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.